Okay, my name is Kelly Ramsey. I am a writer. I am a new mother. I have a 6 month, almost 7 month old daughter. When I first came to Danielle, I was a wildland firefighter. I wasn't totally sure if I wanted to continue in the job. I knew that I wanted to write about the experience that I was having in the job. And I knew because it was my lifelong goal that I wanted to be a writer. But I had not figured out how to become I use big quotes on this, real writer, how to professionalize my writing, how to take myself seriously, and more than anything, how to believe in myself. So I really came to Danielle looking for help with that confidence.
Yeah, I remember. What was it about me that made you think maybe this is it?
I liked your website. I liked the way that you described what you did. It was a little bit different than other so-called life coaches. Although anytime I described you to people, I would say like my coach or my life coach. But I liked that it was philosophical coaching, that it was based in sort of some larger framework of like thought. And I think it was just little things, like as it always is, like you had done Vipassana. And I was like, oh, she meditates. Me too. Cool. But yeah, it was just sort of like the way you described the help that you could offer.
Yeah.
And the fact that it felt really, oh, actually, this is huge. The fact that it felt really goal oriented and sort of project focused. Like I've been in therapy for many years and I love therapy, but it felt distinctly different. Like we are going to set a goal and then we are going to work to achieve that goal. And that was really important to me.
When you looked at like you thought about, okay, am I actually going to do this? It's kind of a lot of money. Like what made you say yes, even with the cost and the time and, the other reservations you might have had?
We had an initial call right before we decided to work together. And you asked me really great questions, like not softball questions, like pressing, pointed questions that were hard for me to answer. So I think I felt called out in a good way by those questions, and that made me feel very confident that you would be able to challenge me enough to help me get where I needed to go emotionally, mentally.
You did get places. Tell us where you got to.
I wanted to finish a book. I wanted to sell it to a major publisher. I wanted to publish that book. I wanted it to come out and be, I don't know, received, maybe well received. That is exactly what happened. I finished a book. I landed an agent. I sold my book to a big five publisher, and it is coming out in like 6 weeks. Literally, exactly what I wrote down that I wanted has come to pass. I do not know that I ever would have gotten there without your help, Danielle. For so many years, had been trying to be a writer, and I had been, writing and I'd been publishing an essay here, a short story there. Like I was on my way, but I hadn't gotten there largely because I hadn't been willing to go for it out of a lack of confidence. So I really credit our work. And I think a lot of it is yeah, not just the questions that you asked, but being given very specific exercises. Like, I was actually just thinking about this the other day. You had me make that success wheel where it's like, what I would become in the center and then all these different elements of it around the outside. And I made a couple different success wheels over the course of our months of working together, kind of evolved. And the other day, I was thinking about I did this event where people lined up for me to sign, not even the book, just like an advanced reader copy of it, like a proof of the book. But I gave this talk, and then people lined up to have me sign the proof of the book. And when they lined up, I was like, that was on my success wheel. Like people waiting in line for me to sign the book. And like literally, they came up to me and said, thank you for writing this. And I was like, those words were on my success. People will wait in line to thank me for writing this book. And I was like, mind blown.
I remember that. I remember, yeah, I was like, visualize the moment where you know that you have been successful and you're like, I'm at a book signing and people are waiting in line to tell me thank you for writing it. And it is
Yeah,
and it's happening and it's going to keep happening as you do your book tour.
I hope so. Maybe, yeah. And then there have been these other little things that aren't little, but like, this woman who works for a bookseller and read an advance copy, she reached out to me and said, your book really spoke to me. I also have a father who's an alcoholic. Your book made me feel less alone. And I was like, every writer's goal in life just to connect with a reader in that way. And there have been several just sort of like reach outs like that from an individual person, always a woman. And that was on the success wheel too, like I will help other women. I don't know if those were the exact words, but it was something like, my work will help other women. And so to see that starting to happen, to have those responses, it's like, yeah, that the success wheel is coming true.
Unbelievable. And I remember when we first started working together, you were like, you hadn't been writing and you were like, I have this dream and I just, you'd had that kind of like you'd written a book and then it didn't, happen and you were like ready to kind of, you were kind of had given up on yourself for a while and to have you turn around and to watch you like really consistently do the work and do it in a way. I remember one of the things we talked about too was like if you just assume you're going to be successful, there's not this sense of like frantic urgency about it, right?
Right.
Like, I need to do it right now or it's never going to happen. You just sort
Yes.
of like got to this place where you're like believed, like I was just like, you need to just believe that it's going to happen and keep taking steps in that direction and then it will happen. And there you
Right.
are.
Yeah. That like assumed success mindset. And what's so funny is like those seeds that we planted together were so powerful that like as I've gotten to the point where the book has been finished and copy edited and like it's in the publication process about to go out into the world, I haven't been thinking a lot about the assumed success mindset. And there's a lot of like not wanting to get my hopes up, you know, like that it'll be a bestseller or anything else. But then like the, these little things will happen or big things will happen. Like, I get an email that's like NPR wants to interview you. And I'll be like, oh my God, I assumed that this would happen 4 years ago, 5 years ago with Danielle. Like we created that assumed success mindset. And now it is coming to pass, even though recently I haven't been like actively working on that thought. I even feel like I've almost slipped where I'm like, who knows? I'm trying to be like very much like hands off, like, who knows what will happen with the book? We'll see.
Yeah, and I do think, I mean, certainly there's a moment in which like you have control over the process and a moment in which you don't, right? So you might be in the moment in which you don't have control over the process,
Very
but
much so.
certainly in the moment when you do have control, you have to assume you're going to be successful, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I think Neil Gaiman says that every writer assumes they're going to write a bestseller or they wouldn't do it.
Right. Yeah, because you need that to like drive you through all of the work that it's going to take to get the book done. Yeah, and at this point like there isn't much work for me to do and I have very little control over the outcome. So yeah, it's less useful for me to be like it will be a bestseller, it will.
I mean, I still think you should believe it, but
I mean like
enjoy the ride. How would you describe what I do to your friends and family? Like, what makes my work different than other practitioners, and what exactly would you say that I do?
Danielle walks you through, guides you through the mindset transformation that is necessary to, I guess it would be achieve your goal, whatever it is your goal is. But it's not, when I say mindset transformation, that sounds sort of like squishy. And it's not really a like soft or amorphous process. It actually feels pretty rigorous and guided. And like there's a program at play. Although the conversations can be ranging, feels like there is a sense of like necessity and urgency and a plan because you make a plan with Danielle starting out. And so sort of like where you're going and there's a timeline of how to get there. I think with Danielle there's this sense of rigor, and I mean that in the best way. There's this like intellectual rigor, and also she's always bringing in sort of like, well, this writer has this piece of advice, or this philosopher would say this, or well, the Buddhist way of approaching this would be X. And I found that to be really enriching and really helpful. I really liked that sense of this like greater wisdom underpinning the conversations.
Let's assume that you are talking to someone who is considering working with me and she's sort of on the fence. She doesn't really know, is this going to be worth it? Is it going to be for me? If you were to talk directly to her, what would you say?
In my opinion, this is absolutely for you. If you have come to coaching, if you've looked at Danielle's materials, if you sort of know what she's about and what she's doing, and you feel interested and you feel that you're at this turning point in your life where you don't know exactly where to go or how to, maybe you know where you want to go and you don't know how to get there, um, Danielle is for you, but she is especially for you if you are ready to do the work, because it is as much your responsibility. Actually, it's more your responsibility than it is hers to get there. She's going to help you so much. You're going to feel so supported. You're going to feel challenged in good ways. You're going to feel guided, but you have to really be ready. So if the price is what's making you hesitate, or the commitment is what's making you hesitate, um, only choose to do it when you're ready to enter into those commitments. Because if you're willing to pay for it, if you're willing to give your time, then you are actually guaranteeing that you're going to get there. Danielle is wonderful. And I am so grateful for her, for your support. I can't even, I thanked you in my book, but it's not enough. Like I truly don't think I would have gotten here. So working with you has been life-changing, truly.
Thank you, Kelly. That's so sweet. I loved working with you so much.
Likewise.
Yeah, really
I'll
did.
probably come back to you when I have my second book crisis.
Oh, good. Yay.